We are here at the stunning Conscious Grounds with Lindsey Rogers, Dodgy Rogie of High Valley Dawn Kin, and we're going to have a look around this epic market garden and look at the composting systems and get a bit of advice on how we can start our own little revolution in our own backyard as well.
We have all different stages of compost, so we're starting over there with our biomass from the garden, and then we have some members of the operations team that put it together with lots of hay bales and garden waste, kitchen waste, cow manure, and then you can see the different successions and stages of maturity and the final product over there.
Wow, let's go have a look.
This one over here is the most mature, and this is what we've been putting on our beds when we do our bed prep each week. And this is what makes all our healthy plants. This
Look
beautiful
at that.
compost.
How old is that?
This one I'd say is about 4 or 5 months old now.
Okay. And is it like a layer cake thermophilic compost, or?
Yeah, it's a hot compost, and they do layer all the elements, but it's all done with the tractor, so it's all turned with the tractor and built with using the tractor. So that's how we get to amass this amount. It's by using that machine power.
How much do they turn it?
Every week, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, with the tractor. So
Wow.
It's a pretty labor-intensive process, but it's one of the farm's values to make our own compost, so we don't buy in compost that could have persistent pesticides, because it's becoming more rare to source compost that isn't contaminated with you don't know what, and there's not a lot of ways to test for it at this moment. That's what Richard's really conscious of, is what persistent pesticides are in things and what materials are being used to make the compost. And even though it's maybe organic in the end, maybe there's something in there along the way that isn't what we want in our garden beds.
What do we got here?
So we have some zucchini, we have some young lettuce, and then we have some young Asian greens over here. So we're still able to produce around 30 kilos of salad mix a week, which is pretty impressive for somewhere in the subtropics. And that is largely due to these tunnels that give us 10% shade cloth in a bit of a milder environment. The Barn Farmers Market, that's the big one. And then Santos, Banglo Bread, Butcher Baker all source our salads. So yeah, a lot of local businesses like to buy local salad, which we appreciate. So in the beginning we mounded the beds with the native soil here, which is a really heavy clay, and then we topped it up with lots of compost made right on the farm, and yeah, you can see a lot of healthy, happy, thriving plants. So we're able to grow in this floodplain in this really heavy clay because of the raised beds, and yeah, the tin just helps us maintain that raised beds and not have to keep reforming it over time and just keep adding more and more compost to the beds.
Okay, so you're not turning them at all, you're just adding compost and...
Yeah, our bed prep, we just clear, we try to leave as many roots in the ground. So if I was to clear this lettuce bed over here, I would just cut right below the ground to leave all the roots, all the goodness in the ground, and then we'd broad fork the bed, add some amendments, maybe some Oscal to raise the pH, and then we would add Natramin, which is a broad spectrum of minerals that's already activated, and then we'd add like 5 buckets, 20-liter buckets of our compost. Then we would rake it out and then plant the next plant, and hopefully without a large break in time, ideally trying to keep living roots in the ground as much as possible.
Okay, and is there anything that you would do? You do a fair bit of cover cropping in between crops as well?
We keep our succession of crops we're going to harvest from pretty tight, so we don't need placeholders, but occasionally we'll put in a crop of buckwheat to hold the space, keep living roots in the ground in the tunnels. And then outside during this summer season we have a lot of areas cover cropped just to hold the space with the amount of rain we get, and because we can't grow that many crops outside that thrive in this time of year. So I could show you the outside cover crops, but yeah, ideally most of our garden is under production in the winter, so pretty much every bed has a plant that we're going to harvest from, and then or the next week it will get planted in immediately.
And what's your opinion on like mulch? Is it because of the tunnels that mulch isn't required here, or you feel like the soil is okay without it? Or
yeah, in the outside beds really we have mulch. We mulch for long-term crops, so something like the lettuce wouldn't get mulch. Something in the ground for over 3 months, more like 6 months usually we would mulch. So we mulched our onions, we'll mulch broccoli, we'll mulch long-term flowers, so anything that's going to be worth our time. And the mulch is actually expensive itself, so it takes time to put it out. A bale can cost anywhere from $60 to $120 depending on the time of year. So yeah, we try to, if it's a fast crop, we won't mulch. Our okra patch here, so we're very selective in the summer in the subtropics of what we grow outside. So okra is one of those heat-loving plants that also doesn't mind a lot of water. So okra is thriving, and it tends to be other plants that come from a tropical place at like this time of year, like loofah, rosella, wing beans, snake beans. So everything else is out of season, like the lettuce and the coriander and the parsley, and that's why we're growing them in tunnels to try to beat the season.
what do we got over here?
So over here I started experimenting this year with growing flowers. So these flowers actually don't mind being outside in the summertime here, and it's a good use of space in a market garden. Like a bunch of beets you can maybe sell for $6 max, but a bunch of flowers you could sell for like $30 or more depending on how well you put them together. So I wanted to see if it could supplement the market garden income, not just grow vegetables. And the beautiful thing about flowers, besides them being beautiful themselves, is that they're in the ground for up to 6 months or maybe even more for some types, and then they just keep giving and giving and giving. So we prep the bed once, then we have this beautiful flower field, and then every week we can just come and cut, and it's pretty fast, pretty easy, and it's just really joyful to cut them, range them, and send them out into the world. A good example of our cover crop. You can see it's really tall, so we're harnessing a lot of the sun's energy into biomass that we're eventually going to put back into the beds. It's a great way to hold the space over summertime when we can't grow a lot of crops that we can sell. So we're building soil, protecting the ground from the heavy rains we've been getting, and yeah, just get a lot of diversity above and below the ground by growing a diverse cover crop like this.
Is this some sort of pea?
That's sun hemp that you're seeing the pea. Yeah, we have sun hemp, there's some daikons around, there's mung bean, there's buckwheat, there's a little bit of sorghum that's snuck in there that maybe we didn't intend to put in there.
Is that sorghum sticking its head up?
Yeah, yeah, with the fronds on top. Yeah, and some lab in there too, but looks like majority sun hemp from this angle, which is apparently really fibrous and good for the biology that we want to support in this garden.
Well, that's it from our time at Conscious Grounds. A quick little tour around the garden, and I hope you learned something. I certainly did. I hope you'll excuse my terrible videography skills today. I was just having a tour around the garden and thought there's too much here to take in and that I wanted to share with the team back at home. So I decided to grab a quick video on my iPhone. But I think the content is good, and Lindsey's really come a long way. She sort of cut her teeth at High Valley Dawn and has spent a few years now at CG, and spent a bit of time up at the Shearwater Sinus School in Mulch. And yeah, it's a bit of a rare look around Conscious Grounds. For those who don't know, it's not really open to the public at the moment, but they've been doing a lot of work up there, and they've got plans to open up some agritourism offerings in the near future, as we're doing at High Valley Dawn with some tiny homes and things coming online. So we're all about getting as many people through the door and teaching people about permaculture and self-sufficiency as possible. So yeah, sorry it's been a while since our last video, and we'll do our best to keep you updated on everything that's been happening. We'll see you soon. Thanks.